So what you're saying is that you deleted all of that really good banter?
I did. I don't even remember what we talked about, but I deleted it.
Do you say banter or banter?
It's banter.
Is it?
Banter.
I would have think that somebody...
The root is ban.
I would have thought that somebody from New York would say banter.
No, that's only when I'm being fancy.
Oh, okay.
We are two very smart
women, but we
women.
Can't say the name of a restaurant or the order of the presidents.
Or the name of the DA, because it's Terrence. Lawyer.
Well, I think it's also to keep people on their toes, because do you know if we can or can't say it? Maybe we're just doing it to be cute.
That's right.
Cute as
you
a
know
button.
what? Way to throw that in there.
Cute as a bed bug in a rug? That's not how it goes.
We need to clap. 1, 2, 3. Hi, I'm Maggie.
And I'm Amanda.
And we're sisters
in law.
We're watching Suits one episode at a time.
It's a show so nice, I've watched it twice.
And a show so great, I'm watching it late.
Thanks so much for tuning in.
Maggie's never seen it and Amanda's obsessed. They don't wear fancy suits, they are casually dressed. They are sisters-in-law and they got a show about a law firm drama that aired a few years ago. Only Suits fans, 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 only Suits fans.
This is Season 2, Episode 4, Discovery.
Before we get into Season 2, Episode 4, Discovery.
Yes.
I think we should talk about some of the discoveries that I've found on our Apple reviews.
Oh, great. We have some more reviews?
We do. I'm going to read one of them.
Okay.
This one is called Suit Up from Funny Guy 214.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing better than this show is this podcast about this show. I started watching Suits late and was looking for someone to talk to about it. Thankfully, I found these two funny women that break it down so candidly. I especially like the briefs and Maggie's predictions since we're both watching it for the first time. Time to suit up with Only Suits fans.
That's really nice. Funny Guy 214.
Very kind.
It's very kind.
Very. I imagine that as a funny guy, he recognizes humor.
Well, and he's aware. He called himself Funny Guy. Told us where he's from.
You too can leave a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast.
And something super sweet. Just say something real sweet about us.
Say something real sweet.
Something
We
real
really
sweet.
love it.
What I really would challenge people to do is to tell 10 people about our podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Even if you tell one person.
Sure, but like the stats are already good. Can you imagine if people told...
If 10, that would be pretty
every
great.
listener told
We just
10
want
people.
We want to grow our firm.
We do
It's
want to
really
grow
what
our
it
firm
is.
because it feels like it was a startup in the first season, and now we're trying to scale.
Yeah, we're trying to scale
We
our
would
firm.
like to bring in some more associates.
We want
you know,
to bring you guys in.
because all of you are basically at the point where you could be up for partner soon if you're listening.
Yeah, if you've been listening since season 1, you're definitely a junior partner.
I think we just came up with our Patreon levels.
But we need more people to be listening to
Justify a Patreon.
Make that Patreon. So we need you to share.
We have a number in mind. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
But speaking of, Maggie, would you like to share your brief
I would.
with all of our listeners?
I would, in fact.
Okay, please read your
Here's
brief.
my brief. As Olaf says in Frozen 2, water has memory. And as Mike and Lewis partner up to protect liquid IQ, neither of them is going to fully forget their past and present transgressions. Travis Tanner also sails in on a big old wave of grudges and collides head-on with Harvey. Harvey may make it out of this crash unscathed, but his insurance premiums are going to be skyrocketing with his less than stellar record. Maybe all this bickering will ultimately bring everyone together. Or maybe the stress will tear them to shreds. TBD.
Ooh, a good TBD. We haven't had that yet at the end of a brief.
That's how I like to end a lot of things. TBD.
TBD. Or IDK.
IDK. LOL.
Also, responses that you could get from Maggie if she sends you a voice memo. Because she is not listening to it.
I'm definitely not listening.
All right. Mike discovers how great of an attorney Lewis is when he is forced to work with him for 2 weeks straight. Travis Tanner coasts right back into the suits world with a new suit against Coastal Motors, Harvey, and the entire Pearson and Hardman firm. Harvey and Jessica try to hide the case from Hardman, but Lewis discovers the truth with his sneaky dictaphone 5 zillion. During her own secret discovery, Donna discovers the Coastal Motors letter that she never remembered seeing or receiving and is left with a real dilemma of her own.
Whew. First of all, I love that every time you mention this dictaphone, the number gets bigger. It's dictaphone 5 million, dictaphone 5 zillion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good bit.
The world is my dictaphone oyster.
You can have as many dictaphones as you want.
Put that on a shirt and let's see if you buy it.
Episode 4.
Liquid water.
Liquid water is hilarious because all water is... Well, no. I guess if water changes from liquid form to something else, then it isn't
like
water.
Like a gas?
Yeah, then it's
or
evaporated.
Frozen.
Yeah, then
Can
it's
water
ice.
turn into a gas?
Yeah, it evaporates and goes up into the sky.
That's what I thought. I was testing you.
Then it comes back down.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Is water a gas? We shall see.
Testing. 1, 2, oh! H2O!
Oh my gosh. What's crazy, listeners, is that it's late and I'm on my second cup of hot tea and some Dayquil. And I think Dayquil might have caffeine in it because it's the opposite of NyQuil.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you get... Oh, you can't do NyQuil.
I couldn't do NyQuil because I could have, but that would have been a fun
experiment.
That would have
been a hilarious
if
podcast.
I didn't tell you why. I was so dreary.
I'd be like, wow, Amanda really hates my brief.
I think the word dreary is really funny. There's a chain of, I guess they're hotels, not motels, because you enter from the inside. Drury Inn, Drury. I believe it's a family name. Bless them, I've stayed at a Drury Inn. But to say, hey, if you guys need me, I'm at the Drury Inn. Or I was trying to see if I could get some more points at the Drury Inn. Isn't it so silly?
Well, it's like the Muffin Man lives on Drury Lane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, do you know the Muffin Man?
I don't.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
Do you know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane?
I couldn't remember that's where he lived. Mm-hmm. Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man. Do you know
the Muffin Man who lives on
Drury Inn Lane?
Drury?
Maybe
not at the
why.
Drury Inn.
Anyways, let's keep going.
Okay.
Water.
So we started off, and Hardman makes Lewis wait for a very long time. Lewis comes into Hardman's office, and he's just
awkward.
Finger up. Hardman's like, wait.
Dude, I hate the finger up.
Oh, it's so rude.
And I have done that. I have put the finger up to people so many times in the past. I know it because you're doing it because you want to acknowledge. You want them to know I know you're here.
Right.
But also, I cannot talk to you right now. It's literally a mix of emotions that are swirling around, and they're answered with one little finger.
Yes, and it feels personal. Also, Hardman does not let Lewis take a seat once he does acknowledge him, so Lewis is left just literally hanging, standing.
So weird.
And Lewis is trying to basically be like, I'm not oblivious to the fact there's a change of foot. He's like, I know there's tension. Lewis is just trying to figure out what is going on.
Because we know he needs to know about the chain of command.
Yes.
It's a big thing for him. He needs to know who he answers to, which really means he needs to know who to suck up to.
Yeah, he doesn't... Well, he also just, knows that something's going on, and he feels unsettled by it.
Yeah.
Daniel Hardman, this creepy guy, he says, Lewis, I like things to operate with a certain integrity around here. Which, okay, Mr. Integrity.
Whatever.
Right? I love Lewis says, I think you'll find nothing is beneath me.
Well, and that's in reference to wanting to do some grunt work.
Yeah, he's
Hardman.
like, I will do whatever it takes.
Yeah. So then...
But Hardman doesn't want Lewis. Hardman wants Mike Ross.
Yeah.
And Lewis is like, well, unfortunately, Mike Ross is my associate for the next 2 weeks, so he's working exclusively with me.
Which he is not. So he has to now go retroactively broker this deal.
Which he tries to say he won Mike for 2 weeks in that wager, but Harvey's like, no, you didn't want him because you beat him, so this is all null. You don't get him. But and then they say Welcher.
Yeah, which is, we got to call it out. You looked it up.
I looked it up because I'd never heard that before.
I hadn't either, and I thought, how do I not know this term? It's something, either it's a bad term, or is it derogatory, or it's something you did bad.
So it means that you gone bad on a wager. Like you're not paying
A bet or a wager?
Bet or a wager.
You didn't pay up when Little Lipstick won? When she Little Lipstick crossed the finish line.
And you were supposed to pay up on that, but you didn't. So that's what it means. Like you don't pay up on a debt or a wager or a bet. From vocabulary.com, when you type it in, it has in parentheses offensive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like, ugh.
Yikes.
Just really showing its age.
Record scratch. Speaking of
records.
Yeah.
Mike is in Harvey's office and he is looking at records and he sees one for the Spinners and makes fun of it a little bit. And then Harvey's like, you know what? You are going to go work for Lewis for 2 weeks. I think because Mike made fun of the Spinners. Yeah, he was in there spouting off some information about a case that we'll talk about later with Coastal Motors. And he says, I can't believe you have the Spinners. And he says that Harvey says the Spinners were one of the defining pop bands of their time. Yes.
So we were starting to talk about this. You asked if I was singing a Spinners song when I got here. You have not heard of the Spinners.
I had not heard of the Spinners. I was surprised that Harvey has the Spinners, but not like Queen.
So Maggie, I have something queued up and I want to play it and I want you to see what you think. And they played Rubberband Man. Okay. This is a little bit of Rubberband Man. Yeah, do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, vibe.
It's a fun vibe, right?
Yeah.
This feels very Suits.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah. This makes sense. This is...
Okay, now I'm going to switch. Hang on. All right, I'm going to play this song. Do you know this song?
Oh, uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Defining from the generation.
Do you know? You don't know this.
Yeah. No, I know this. This is good. Yep.
Could it be I'm falling in love
with you, baby?
Hopefully that works when I
lay it
in there. So real quick, thank you for entertaining me. We've never actually played music because our vocal stylings have been something that doesn't leave anything to be desired. Real quick about the Spinners. They actually were a very big pop band, okay?
Yeah, I said so we
just heard.
I had no idea they played those songs. Now that I've heard them. Now I remember. This is big band. Makes sense. I can't believe Mike was mean about them.
Okay. The Spinners were very popular. In fact, they had 4 number 1 hits in 18 months, which is 4 more than I've ever had. So they had a quick trajectory, right? And then one queen, Aretha Franklin, said, you guys got to move to Atlanta. So she convinced them to move to Atlanta. And so then things really took off for them there. So they had some really great producers behind them. They didn't just have an album. If you go listen to the essentials of the Spinners, you'll know the songs. I mean, you recognized them.
Yeah, I did.
Just now.
I did. No, I mean, duh. I didn't know the name though, which is funny because I feel like most people who have that many hits, you know the name of the band, and I didn't. I did not.
That's okay. This brings me to my little mini depot here. Okay. If the Spinners were one of the defining pop bands of their time, what do you think is one of the defining pop bands of our time?
NSYNC, Backstreet Boys.
Are you Backstreet or NSYNC?
I was NSYNC.
Okay.
Britney Spears, more like solo.
She's
right?
solo, yeah.
But I think that those early 2000s.
Yeah, agreed.
Oasis.
98 Degrees.
98 Degrees. No.
I mean, Taylor Swift is arguably
right now,
the pop star of our time.
Yeah.
She is bigger than the Beatles.
Beyonce. Destiny's Child.
Sure. Ladies, leave your man at home. The club is full of men at home. The club is full of bottles and the pot is full grown. And all you fellas, leave your girls with her friends, 'cause it's 11:30 and the club is jumping.
I would not be out at 11:30.
You got a man with the party ain't gonna stop, so let's make it hot. All right. We're going to get to this.
Okay. Now Mike is working with Lewis.
Yes.
And Lewis gives him a list of so many tasks to do for Liquid IQ. He tells him that...
Pause. I thought it was Liquid Water.
It's Liquid IQ was the ad campaign?
Uh-huh.
Because it was the whole lawsuit's about people thinking that they'd get smarter from their water.
Oh.
Isn't it Liquid IQ?
Maybe. I thought it was Liquid Water.
There's a joke about Liquid Water.
Okay, yeah.
So he gives them this list of stuff to do for Liquid IQ. He tells Mike, too, that he needs to be in by 7 a.m. and not out before 10 p.m. and he cannot have sex.
No sex!
No sex!
Like, he keeps saying, no sex, no sex. He says, it weakens the legs and clouds the judgment.
Which is incredible. I was hoping, I was like, good, we'll see Grammy in this episode then. Mm-hmm. We don't. Mike calls Lewis to Harvey. He says that Lewis is captain of mixed metaphors, and then I had this really like sad moment where I thought, am I Lewis lit?
No, because yours aren't mixed metaphors. Yours
Mine
are
just mixed up words.
Mixed up words.
Okay.
And not being able to say lawyer.
So Mike prepares 12 motions and countersuits to just basically overwhelm
and he does it in record time because he's Mike Ross. Yeah.
So, and this just makes Lewis be like, thank goodness I have Mike on my team too. Mm-hmm. This makes it so easy. And then Lewis is just ripping into this guy, ripping into him, being like, you better be prepared because we're going to trial.
We're filing this. We're filing that. We're filing this. We're not here to settle. We're here to go to trial.
And then he goes, be sure to take Grand Central. I think you'll love it.
Because right before then, he was giving him instructions on different train stations before Mike walked in. So he's like being super friendly Lewis, and then he's being big bulldog
Whiplash.
Lewis.
Whiplash.
That is what we would call context switching.
Oh.
But really context switching for him is like a multiple person. It's not really context switching. It's more of like his different personalities. And I really resonated with this because there are many times where not as much now, well, in HR where I could be having a very serious conversation and then my next call, I'm kind of joking around because it gets pretty heavy.
Yeah,
sometimes.
you have to be able to do that.
Yeah, and just the switching back and forth at a moment's notice. I feel like I am good at it. People around me in the past have not been good at receiving it. Like they're like, wait a minute, which Amanda am I talking to? Are you my friend? Are you my boss?
Right.
Yeah.
It can be confusing.
It could be very confusing.
So yeah, he really gives that guy the biz. And Mike is genuinely impressed with Lewis.
And I think he's more impressed because he's so surprised. Mm-hmm. He's not expecting this.
And Lewis says, you did so great with it. Why don't you take the morning off, come in the afternoon? And then Mike goes, war doesn't wait till the afternoon. Mike is in this metaphor now.
I thought you said to take the afternoon off.
I thought so too, but then Mike said war doesn't wait till the afternoon. So I was like, oh, maybe he said come in late.
Yeah, maybe he did. Who knows? We'll let somebody tell us if we were wrong.
Yeah. Anyways, the idea of that is that Mike is eager to work. Yes. He doesn't want the time off. He wants to work with Lewis. He's having fun. Mm-hmm. And then they get into the deposition. Well,
real quick, then Lewis tries to quote Chariots of Fire.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, if I can't win, I won't run. And Mike doesn't know that.
Which is wild.
Because Mike knows some very obscure movie references and the fact that he does not know Chariots of Fire.
Yes. This is another moment that I thought maybe I am Lewis lit too, because I feel like I do this where I'm like, oh, I know something you like. And then I throw something out and it's like a big flop. Does not resonate. No one gets it. What a stupid reference. Like how when I decided to go to UT Austin, I downloaded a bunch of country music so that I could be friends with people.
What was your favorite download?
Lyle Lovett.
Oh.
You say you're not from Texas,
but
right. Texas wants you anyway.
Right, we talked about that, and he went to A&M.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Basically, then they're in the deposition. Lewis is talking to, is it like the chief marketing officer? But he's not really, he's kind of a guy who's on Lewis's level. The people that are suing them.
Yes.
He's high up.
He's not the chief marketing officer because he had been applying for those senior VP. So he's a marketing director or something and had been turned down for a couple of opportunities.
And Lewis is doing a great job with the deposition. He's like, your water tastes like shit. You can't compete. So now you're suing this company that I represent because you can't possibly do better. And Lewis gets super personal. And he's like, you're applying. You keep getting turned down. Guess what? The job you applied for recently, they're hiring someone from the outside. How does that feel to be overlooked? How does that feel to know that you're qualified and not be given the opportunity? How does that feel?
Yeah.
Man. And the guy's like, you're right. Our water tastes like shit.
So we're suing you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because we're losing market share. Dang.
And Mike's watching this whole thing just being like, Lewis is a human.
Yeah, he is. And he's really impressed. They're excited, and then it turns out Daniel delivers the bad news that Durham Foods is actually declaring bankruptcy. And Mike's like, oh, great, we win. And he obviously doesn't understand bankruptcy law. That
Right.
that attorney fee is, and that lawsuit is last on the lien position. Like they've got lenders and they're however many liens, and depending, obviously, you probably know some about bankruptcy because your dad's a bankruptcy attorney.
That's true.
But depending on what kind they file,
Some gets paid back. And
some gets paid back and some of it doesn't. So
and some is forgiven.
yeah, and so they're not going to get, the lawsuit's not going to happen. Like there'll be no winnings, which means there'll be no proceeds, which means they're not going to get, Kirsten Hardman won't get paid.
Yeah. But Mike still had fun with Lewis. You know what I had? It's funny that Mike didn't really understand that for the bankruptcy, because I was also thinking, like, here Mike is really impressed with Lewis. Lewis is a very different type of attorney than Harvey, but Mike's never been exposed to really different types of attorneys.
He only knows Harvey.
He only knows Harvey, and so
It was his first.
It was his first and his only, really.
Yeah.
So now he's out in the field. You know, Hardman's being like, we think alike. Lewis is like, we work well together. Look at how I do it at Depot. I feel like Mike is starting to round out more tools in his unlawyered lawyer belt.
So then Mike and Lewis are talking because he's like, I really enjoyed working with you. And then he starts talking about how Lewis has kind of poisoned the well. And he doesn't understand where he has done wrong, that people don't like him. And Mike tries to walk him through it, and he doesn't get it. He's completely oblivious. And I think my notes were that he needs to take a giving and receiving feedback course.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't get it. Like, he's not even hearing the feedback.
I think he does hear it eventually, because Mike is like, I'm going to be honest. And then Lewis at first is like, yeah, like Mike's like, remember when you pulled a fake drug test on me? Remember when you did all these other dirty, when you told Jenny about Rachel? Remember when this? And Lewis is just like, yeah, but I did that because you were mean to me. And it's like all tit for tat scorekeeping. I really felt like at the end of that, Lewis was like, okay, it's water under the bridge. I'm so sorry. Let's move forward.
Right.
But then Lewis gets into Harvey's office because Donna is nowhere to be found.
Where is Donna?
Donna's digging up files.
She is.
And Lewis is there, and he's like, listen, I know that something is going up, and I know that he's taking accountability here, right? Like, he's heard what Mike said, and he's like, I haven't always been well-behaved, but you can trust me, and I want to do better. He's taken some feedback, and he's like, I will do better.
Yeah.
Except for Harvey says Lewis goes away, and then Lewis records him with his dictaphone 5 quadrillion.
Yes.
And what he hears
is the fact that they've been hiding the case, and that it's pathetic that Lewis wants to be Harvey. But Mike is still saying you should have seen him. He's really great. So it's getting a little bit of praise, but it's buried beneath, one, the fact that they're hiding a case from Hardman, two, that they're talking shit about him.
Because Mike's like, Lewis is really great. He just wants to be you, Harvey.
Yeah.
He's so jealous of you, Harvey, which would be hard to hear too. Yeah. Having like an associate be like, Lewis
junior partner
is jealous
yes.
about you. And that's when Harvey says, that's pathetic, which is the ultimate dagger. So Lewis is just listening to this. And Mike comes over, and then he talks to Hardman.
Right.
And Hardman's
we'll
like,
find out. Yeah.
Great job with this. Good idea to do XYZ. And Lewis is like, that was actually Mike's idea.
Yeah.
Right. He gives him credit. Mike comes bouncing in thinking that their team lit
good.
Ross.
Yep.
Team lit Ross. Look at us. We're bros. Water under the bridge. And Lewis says, I don't like to owe anyone. Actions have impact. You want to remember the marijuana tennis thing? I'm going to remember things too.
Woo!
And tit for tat. I guess he didn't learn his lesson.
No, man. We got to keep learning here. Always be learning.
Continual learning.
Yeah. Next storyline, Coastal Motors.
This is an old case that Mike knows all about because Mike knows everything.
Yeah, not surprising anymore.
But this is a case that Harvey won by basically telling, there was this guy, Randall versus Coastal Motors. And Randall's family was suing because Coastal Motors, the car split in two, collapsed, and Harvey drug that man's name through the mud, said he was basically, this was all that guy's fault. Coastal Motors not going to pay nothing. So Coastal Motors won, which was good because that's Harvey's client.
Turns out we got a friend that's back on the block.
And this case is getting reopened
by Travis Tanner. And I love Travis Tanner.
Yeah, Travis Tanner has new hair.
Yeah.
He comes back, his hair is slicked back.
He is slick. Well, he lives in New York now.
Now he's in New York. And he does not like the sushi in New York. He misses the sushi from Boston.
Well, that's fair.
So Travis is there, and he's like, not only am I opening up this case again against Coastal Motors because of this document that said they knew, you knew, everyone knew that engine was faulty, or that the make of the car was faulty and dangerous, but also I'm going to sue you and Pearson Hardman for fraud because you knew and you hid it and you were a liar.
They're all going down.
Everyone's going down.
And Jessica does not want Hardman to know about it.
Right, because that's real bad.
This is bad news bears. She's going to say it was poor management of the firm while he was gone, and that Jessica didn't know, and all of this, blah, 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 blah. So Harvey does have to ask Donna. He calls her into the office, tells her what's going on, if she happened to see it. And she's like, are you serious? Of course I didn't.
Yeah, she's
like,
like,
why would I keep that? Yeah. Why would I keep something?
She's like, I also don't know where the Watergate tapes are or where Amelia Earhart is. And then she's just like, and he just keeps on it. And she goes, give me an order. And so he says, go through every file from the original case. And she's like, thank you. And she goes and she does it.
And do it without anybody knowing.
Yes. And she does it because she just she's like, give me my marching orders and I'll do it. Enough with the chit chat.
Yep.
So basically, Harvey's like, I need to go talk to Kemp, who's in charge of Coastal Motors, because they have a relationship.
Oh, is his name Kemp?
Kemp is it Lawrence Kemp?
Yeah.
Okay, so Lawrence Kemp is head of Coastal Motors, and Harvey goes to talk to him, but they have a new general counsel at Coastal Motors, and they are not going to let Harvey talk to Kemp without being there.
Yeah.
Because Tanner has been there beforehand.
Yes.
Ultimately, Kemp fires
which is
Harvey Specter.
Actually good.
Which is what Harvey wanted. He was like, fire me, fire. And then he goes, it's on record.
Yeah. General counsel didn't want it to happen. He tried to stop Kemp from doing it. He's like, no, don't. We'll keep you on. Because they knew it would happen. Once he's fired, anything they discover afterwards is completely admissible in court.
Yes. So then he calls Mike and tells him to go through every document and find what is not there. He's got Donna looking for the memo, and then he's asking Mike to look for what's not there. Mm-hmm. And he tells Jessica the good news, bad news. He got fired. That's bad. But now everything they find is not protected. So he can ultimately use it to blackmail, basically.
Yeah. Harold Gunderson walks in on Donna and Mike.
Yes. Oh, sweet Harold Gunderson. Because Donna and Mike are both in the file room.
It says, do not enter on the sign.
Yep.
Like on the thing.
And Mike's like, what are we going to do? That's Harold. He's coming. He needs something from here. And Donna roughs up her hair, makes Mike's tie look funny, and then says, come in. And then she says, could you give us a minute? And poor sweet Harold. He's like, of course. What have I just seen?
Awkward.
Why would her hair be like that? Daniel comes in to apologize to Harvey and offers a new case to work on together. So Hardman's like,
offering.
Yeah, it's a peace offering. He's like, why don't you do this? Harvey's like, I'm doing a lot. And Hardman says, well, that would beg the question, why not do one more?
And then finally Harvey does like the most corporate speak I've ever heard Harvey say up to this point. I'll see if I can free up some time next week.
I'll circle back to that, Hardman.
I'm going to follow up on that memo.
Yes. So they figure out who wrote the memo. It was Sarah Layton. She wrote reports on lots of Coastal Motor cars, but not for this one. So Mike finds out that every single car, pretty much up until this point, she wrote a memo on, but she did not write one about this car that the lawsuit's in question, and it's probably disappeared from record. So Harvey goes to talk to her.
She doesn't want to talk. She does say, I knew there was a problem. I came to Kemp and I said, hey, there is a problem with it. And he says, don't put it in writing. He said he was going to fix it, but what he did is he fixed the cars that were going to be made in the future. He did not recall and fix anything else. And she said, I've had to live with this because that man died. And she never put that in writing. So she never wrote a memo.
Because she was explicitly told not to write
put it in
the
writing.
Memo.
Yes.
So Travis Tanner is there, and he's been waiting because he's just always one step ahead of him, which is just also, Harvey's like, of course you're here. Then Harvey goes to see Lawrence Kemp again, now that he's talked to Sarah Layton. He's like, tell me about Sarah Layton. He catches him when he's all alone, no general counsel.
Coming out of the office.
And Harvey does something shocking.
It kind of throws him down on the car.
He literally slams Kemp down on a car and he goes, that's what a solid front end feels like. And your front end didn't feel like that.
Yeah, and he's referring to the car.
The car that's split in half. Yeah, not Lawrence Kemp's front end.
Yeah.
So he's like, you're going to pay all those people. You're going to pay everyone every penny. We're settling this.
Yes.
So Harvey's like, I don't think that Sarah Layton, she said she didn't write the letter. So he says, I I think that Tanner actually wrote that letter because he is someone who would commit fraud to catch me on fraud. And he delivers the settlement straight to the firm, not to Travis Tanner. He goes above Travis Tanner, delivers it there. Then he runs into Travis Tanner and he's like, yeah, I delivered it, settled, because I think you wrote the letter. And Travis Tanner's like, actually, only one of us has a record of hiding evidence.
Sick burn.
Yeah.
It is a sick burn.
It is a sick burn, and it's also true. Harvey has this record of all these winning cases that are also all in question because of the
Mike Brady.
DA So we basically have Tanner's number now. We know that he's not going to stop coming after Harvey.
Coastal Motors settles. Harvey goes in to give the good news to Jessica. And Jessica says, when's the other shoe going to drop? Harvey says, what makes you think there's another shoe? And she says, it's Tanner. There's always another shoe. Which brings me to a deposition here, Maggie.
Good.
Has there ever been a time when you're like, oh, when's the other shoe going to drop? And then it does. Like something happens in your life and you're like, this can't be it. And then something bigger happens.
Yeah. There's one time in particular, and I don't need to get into the details of what that was, but I would like to share some great advice I received from a sage mentor and a friend of mine. We were in a small office, a dark office, no windows, and I was basically just like, wow, this really sucks. And she told me, Maggie, it's going to get bad, and then it's going to get worse. And then she said, wait, I meant that to be uplifting. And that person was you.
And that quote, then later on at our place of business in the bathroom, there was one tile that somebody had like with their fist punched a hole into the wall through the sheetrock in anger in the bathroom, public restroom. And so we took a picture of that. I think our friend Grant took a picture of that, and we printed it out.
Printed it out on an 8x10.
And then you wrote that quote on there.
It's gonna get bad, and then it's gonna get worse.
And then we took a picture of the hole in the wall and framed it and put it over the hole in the wall.
It
was a really fun bit that only about 3 of us knew. And I say it a lot, and I still have that picture.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Where is it? You should put it in your bathroom.
I should put it in my bathroom.
Yeah. And people will be like, what? This is a hole in a bathroom wall.
Yeah, I could have. There was a time, Maggie, I don't know if you remember this, where, and I won't bore you with the details, we had booked a show at DCH, and it was happening in the end of February of 2020. And it turned out it was a group of comedians that when we realized who they were,
oh my God,
it was not going to be a good situation.
Yes.
Like their topics were not in line with anything, and and we had staff that were uncomfortable working there. And so I had to call and cancel the show.
Like, we didn't book the show. They were renting the venue to host a comedy
right, yeah,
show.
We didn't seek them out. They came in and said, we're going to pay you this fee to do our show there. And it was like on a Monday night. We're like, yes.
Right, because we did private.
Didn't give all the details of who they were. And somebody did some, like, deep dive. And he reached out to us and said, and somebody we trust, and said, you can't put that person that show cannot be associated with your venue.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you. And so we canceled it, and it was bad, and they were trying to get in the press that we were part of cancel culture and all of this. So I had to call and notify our landlord, because they said they were going to call our landlord and do everything. And then I called you. You were at home and said, this is what's happened. You know, the attorney knows, their attorney's calling. And you said to me, I wonder when the other shoe's going to drop. And 2 weeks later, we closed because of COVID. Do you remember saying that?
I do remember.
You literally said, when's the other shoe gonna drop?
It was a crazy, because we also had, we had the festival in like a few weeks.
We had so much going on.
And it was just
like something else could happen.
Yeah.
And we knew COVID was happening.
It was, honestly, 2020 started, and it was like, something's off with this year. You know,
it
started, and it was like so many things like that, and it was like, what the heck is going on? How many shoes are we wearing these days?
Yeah. So
and then
you called it.
Yeah. Basically, I called COVID.
Yeah, you did.
It's my fault. We got mentioned by Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live, And then the next week had to cancel the festival.
That's
and
true.
close
Andy
everything.
Cohen did say, "Hey, maybe
You're going to be
go
at the
this
Dallas Comedy Festival." And I was like, "This is peak.
This is peak," and it was.
It was peak.
We peaked because then we had to cancel. I was Dulce Sloan, I think.
Yeah.
And we had to cancel her and everything.
Yeah. What a wild time.
Bye.
Bye, 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 bye. Voice of our generation.
Voice of our generation.
While they're talking about this being about them settling this lawsuit, Harvey's like, when should we tell Hardman about Travis Tanner? And Jessica says, let's wait till the morning. Like, let's just go home. She puts on a fabulous jacket. She's getting ready to leave.
And Hardman storms in there.
He's like, oh, tell me what in the morning. But he didn't even say that. He's like,
why
have
would you
no right
to hide a lawsuit from me. And then he does that dumbass thing that's supposed to be endearing where he goes, let's fight him together.
Right.
Oh, woof, Hardman.
He just says everything so softly that it's too much, right?
It's so soft.
Try hard, man.
And he can't, nobody can get mad at him for yelling. I mean, he did yell at that, but when he does bring an idea to the table, he does it in such a soft, like demeaning, not demeaning, demure, sorry.
Right.
Drury. Mm-hmm. Demure.
He's the martyr.
Oh my gosh. Martyr Hardman.
Martyr Hardman. Yeah, no, it's like one of those people where you're just like, ugh, you just get like a bad feeling about them, but they're saying all the right things, doing all the right things. So anyways, Daniel proposes they fight it together, and Harvey says to Jessica, you trust him? And she says, at the moment, I don't have a choice. Yikes. Later we see Harvey staring out that window, and he's got a little smirk on his face, and Mike comes in, and he's like, why are you smiling? And Harvey says, because I'm going to beat Travis Tanner. And
his
Harvey
mother
says,
won't even recognize him.
Yeah, I'm going to beat Tanner beyond recognition.
Yeah, his mother won't even recognize him.
Which is kind of violent.
Yeah.
Harvey has a pretty violent episode.
Yeah, he does. He really does. And then
biggest shoe that drops.
Dude,
how did
you feel about this?
Did
you see this coming?
Clunky heel. No, I did not see this coming.
Yeah, you're right. This was like a heavy wedge.
This was a boot.
Yeah, it was a boot, but not like a nice little stiletto, like a chunky late 90s knee-high boot.
Yeah. Donna's looking through all the files, looking for this letter that she's like, there's no way I saw it. Guess what? That letter did exist. Dude. Travis Tanner did not forge that letter. Donna signed for it.
Yeah.
Donna signed for it as she has received this letter. And you can tell in her face, she's just like, I cannot believe this. Because she had no memory of this.
None.
I mean, she must sign for so many documents.
It's also a big letter, though, so she would have caught it. And she's shocked. Like, she would have read it and been like, oh, well, this is important. This is important. I can't stamp this and move on. I wonder if the legal secretary has an obligation to read that and then flag it if there's an issue.
I don't know. I wonder, too. Because she's not a paralegal. Like, you could hire anyone to be a legal secretary, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have any necessarily.
But she's not anyone.
She's not
Donna.
anyone. No, I know. That's why it's like a big mistake, a big oopsies. And you know it's a big mistake because Rachel comes in and Donna asks for some water, which is what happens in this firm when you're feeling the heat.
Yeah, you
want to get out of something.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't give it to you. But
no, I think Rachel went and got it for her.
I'm sure she did. I'm confident.
Oh, it was I felt for Donna.
Did you?
Because I know.
When I watched this the first time, I didn't see this coming. At all.
I didn't see it coming either. I just like really felt for her because I know that there have been times where like I've been super like I'm like I know that I'm right about this and then I'm wrong about it and it just hurts. But this one's also like Harvey could be sued for fraud. Like this was a big deal.
Yeah,
big deal. And what's she gonna do? Is she gonna tell Harvey?
Well, I mean, we have to watch episode 5.
I know.
Yeah.
Ugh. I do also want to talk about a very, very small storyline.
Yes.
That's non-consequential, like inconsequential.
I saw that you added it as a storyline.
I did. Cute. I just wanted to add this real quick. It's not. I'm just gonna go through it. Harold is watching Rachel get a book out of the very top shelf, and he's like, "Oh, are you looking for this book?" And she goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "I knew we had something in common, which is what reading law books that you need." Mm-hmm. And then she's trying to get rid of him. So he's like, what can I do? I'll do anything for you. What do I need to do? And she says, my stapler is broken. And he says, I'll get you 3. But he can't get 3 because he goes to get staplers from the file room and he sees Mike and Donna
not doing it.
And they're not doing it, but he's like, doesn't know what he just walked into. Because I don't even think he knows.
Did Kyle predict that? Mike and Donna would not do it?
No, I don't think so. Just Hardman.
Okay.
Just Hardman.
Okay.
So Harold ends up in the very end bringing her sticky notes, hole punch, a stapler, pens, so many supplies. And all I could think was he's not going to be able to afford that tattoo that he wants to get.
Oh, the tattoo that he was, because he's paying too much for his apartment. He needed a bonus for it.
And now he's paying too much for these office supplies. Like he's got too many.
Yes.
And she's like, I don't need any of this. And he goes, except for the stapler, because your stapler's broken. She goes, oh, yeah. He gives her the stapler. He walks out. She opens a drawer full of staplers.
Which means she has been doing this to all of the men who have been all in love with Rachel.
She never told Mike she needed a stapler.
Well, he wasn't trying to help her. She also wasn't trying to get rid of him either.
She wasn't trying to get rid of him. And he also, he never saw her as like a damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't treat her like that.
No.
As someone who might need a stapler.
He treats her like a foodie.
Yeah, he does. You want to take us down to Prediction Town?
Here's Prediction Town. I think now Donna has a secret, which we all know. And I think that she's going to shred it.
Okay.
I don't think she's going to tell Harvey.
You think she's going to shred the document?
I think she's going to keep it a secret and act totally normal.
Okay.
I think Travis Tanner is going to be back again. I say this because he said, I'm going to be back again. I think now that Mike is no longer working with Lewis Litt, I think he's going to go on a huge sex spree. Just so many sexes.
Because he wasn't allowed to have
sex.
Because
he wasn't allowed to have sex for those 2 weeks that he was working with Lewis Litt on the water case. Now he's about to go home with that big old lamp of his, and he's going to have so many fun times with so many people.
Okay.
Probably won't see Grammy for a while.
Because he's going to be on a sex spree.
Okay. So Hardman asked Harvey to work with him on an insurance case, I believe. And Harvey said, I'll see if I have time for it. I think that they are going to work together. And I think that they are more similar than they are different. And I think that much like Mike and Lewis work together and were able to have fun, I think Hardman and Harvey are going to actually do a good job on a case together. I don't think Harvey is ever going to like Hardman, but I think it's going to be an important thing for laying a foundation of Hardman thinking that he's got Harvey in his pocket.
Yeah.
I'm most confident about the sex spree.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to rank your level of confidence there, it's going to be with Mike's sex spree.
1,000% sex spree.
Probably have the spinners playing in the background.
Yeah, probably a little bit of this song.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the song.
That's it.
This is the song for sex. Yeah. Totally. This is the song for sex. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Check us out on Apple or Spotify or anywhere else you get your podcast. And make sure to leave us a super sweet review.
Yeah, and if you don't have anything nice to say, you can just
eat it. I'm glad we have the music to play us out, because I don't even know if we could banter enough. It would just have to be the spinners playing right now.
I'm dead about this.
Still playing the spinners in the background, by the way. They're still playing. I'm still playing it, and I'm going to do this ending.